I want to thank the board for all their guidance and support over the year, and offer some special appreciation for all the partner organizations that are present here today. Suzette called a number of them out earlier today, but our members and partnerships are crucial to our impact and our ability to serve you better. And I really want to welcome all of our first-time attenders, invite you to reach out to us with any questions or feedback. This is a very friendly and supportive group, and if you don't know people in the room, it's very easy to get to know them and just reach out and ask questions, and it really is an extraordinary community. Now, as we look back on 2025, we are aware that this is our 15th annual meeting and want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the things that we've accomplished together as we work to build a thriving cooperative economy. As you know, the NFCA was incorporated in 2011, and the very next year, 2012, was the first International Year of Co-ops. And it gave us a real opportunity to sort of frame our vision and mission and what we're here to do, to communicate the difference that our members make every day, and engage communities and policymakers in the impact we have. A key impetus for the year was recognizing the role of co-ops in achieving the UN Development Goals. And those goals were deemed so effective that the UN turned around and decided to create 17 goals, because more is always better when they more is more when they created the Agenda for Sustainable Development. So when the UN declared 2025 to be the second International Year of Co-ops, we seized on this opportunity to take advantage of what was a spotlight on our cooperatives and our business model, to communicate the contribution of our food co-ops to sustainable development, the eradication of poverty, and the opportunity to build a more inclusive economy and society for everyone. And as I mentioned, in declaring the year, the UN identified co-ops as key partners in achieving the 17 goals of the Sustainable Development Agenda, which concludes in 2030. So there's 5 years left in the agenda, and if we're paying attention, which is a hard thing to do right now, a lot of those goals are at risk. And I think that that's one of the reasons that the UN identified co-ops, and not just to congratulate co-ops, but to challenge co-ops to do more. So last year when we met, we proposed to frame our priorities using the lens provided by the UN and their priorities for the International Year of Co-ops, which were to raise public awareness of the impact of co-ops, to promote growth and development and strengthen the ecosystem that supports that growth and development, to advocate for laws and policies that protect and promote our unique business model, and inspire co-op leadership, and especially engaging the next generation in our movement. So at last year's meeting, we asked you all to vote on which of these was most important, and we're proud to say it was pretty much an even vote. And so we set about, trying to have as much impact on these goals as we could over the course of the year.
So in public awareness, for example, from the beginning, our annual food co-op survey has been central to our ability to raise public awareness of our collective regional impact. One of the first things that NFCA did back when we first started was to do a survey of the co-ops that were participating, and we've done that each year. So last year, we expanded our survey to all the food co-ops in the region, and tracking down all those co-ops, there are at least 60 co-ops, actually we might be at 61, locally owned by almost 300,000 people. Our members continue to lead in the regional impact, with an average of 30% of sales being from local products. We've also sought to strengthen local producers in other ways. For example, the NFCA was the first association of retailers to join the efforts of the Northeast Organic Family Farm Partnership, NOFFP, to support our dairy farmers in the wake of lost contracts. And as of 2025, 90% of our member co-ops had signed on as partners. And Kylie, who's in the back, and a couple other folks from NOFFP are here today, and they'll have a table with the small groups. So we continue to do sampling demos at our member co-ops as well. So talk to those folks too. Let's see. With the opportunity presented by the IYC, we work to promote you, our members, through regional press and ads. And thanks to Justin's work with ad designing and also sometimes last-minute requests, he's been great to work with and help us get the word out. In collaboration with Cabot, Organic Valley, and the ICA, we ran a special ad campaign in all of the local editions of the Edible magazine that overlapped with our members. So if you're not familiar with Edible magazine, it covers everything around food, and there's regional editions. And we looked up what editions cover our regions and chose them to do ads. We have some copies of the Vermont one that actually has an interview with Urban in it about the IYC and, well, Vermont co-ops. It's a great edition. You're welcome to take some from our table. Let's see. This advertising, this circulation reaches, oops, what did I do? Wait, I need to scroll. There we go. No. See, I want to scroll this thing. How do I do? Oh, I got to go over here. So this, that do it? There we go. So that circulation in the readership is almost 2 million of conscientious consumers. So by the end of 2025, we also did some looking back, and we were pleased to find that we had placed more than 40 ads in regional publications promoting our co-ops, promoting all of you. And next is you.
Yeah, just to touch on a couple of things here too. Thanks to Kylie and NOFFP for being here. You also have a QR code on your tables where you can take the pledge to support organic dairy farmers if you'd like to. The other thing to just mention, the interview in Edible magazine features many of our co-ops in Vermont, and thanks to my long-windedness, covers 7 pages of the magazine. So
it's not all you.
So enjoy. We also recognize that government policy has a profound impact on our food co-ops, our communities, and the wider food system and economy. We started last year working with the New England Farmers Union to introduce a special order of business on the year of co-ops at the National Farmers Union Convention, making that a priority for them for the year. We're also particularly thankful for CoBank's support of our advocacy work and our partnership with New England Farmers Union and NCBA in 2025. We contributed to or participated in 3 legislative fly-ins on issues related to the Farm Bill, food security, and co-op development, making more than 25 visits to the offices of senators and representatives from our region, as well as the USDA and other government offices. Over the years, we've worked to recruit representatives to the NCBA Congressional Cooperative Business Caucus. We currently have 3, down from, I think, a high of 5. We're hoping, after these next elections, we can make a concerted effort to do some more recruitment. We have some flyers on the Farmers Union table about how you can help with that if your representative is not currently in the caucus. And in 2025, we offered 4 opportunities for our co-ops to engage their members directly in advocacy on issues of credit union tax treatment, co-op development, and food security. We've also been leaders in ensuring that cooperative principles are reflected in co-op law locally and internationally, and have successfully defended or updated 2 state co-op laws since we were founded. And finally, in 2025, we were excited to successfully introduce governor's proclamations of Co-op Month in 5 of our 7 states, more than any other region in the United States. And I had to say one more thing. Please, thank you. I wanted to add one more thing, just on, to give an example of the importance of engaging in policy advocacy. And before I move on, I was at the National Farmers Union Convention just a few weeks ago, where we had a presentation from a representative from the Institute for Local Self-Reliance on the impact of consolidation in food retail for family farmers, right? Their point was that the consolidation in our sector is heavily impacting family farmers. And this graph really struck me because what it shows is not only a profound impact for family farmers, but also the ability of our retail food co-ops to compete in the marketplace. So just to spell this out quickly, the dark blue lines are the market share of the 4 largest grocery chains in the United States over time. The light blue is the other grocery chains, and the rather grim orange line is the market share of independent grocery stores, including food co-ops. And what you see here is that during the enforcement of anti-monopoly law, independents actually had the largest share of the retail food market. And then when this enforcement was stopped, you saw a rapid decline and the emergence of food deserts. From the Institute's perspective, this is the origin of food deserts in the United States. And then you saw a rapid decline of independents, particularly in the 90s. Students of food co-op history may remember the number of food co-ops we lost in the 90s and the number of co-op warehouses we lost in the 90s, right? We had distribution centers all over the country, and they largely went away during this period. So this speaks not only to the importance of advocacy, but perhaps more importantly, from my perspective, finding partners from other parts of the food system that share your values and goals. And the Farmers Union has been one of the leading voices calling for enforcement of these anti-monopoly laws. So I just want to take a minute to share that with you and thank all of our members who are also members of the Farmers Union. Encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity to help us strengthen our voice in DC before policymakers and create a level playing field for our food co-ops and our family farm partners.
So now we get to go to the next one. There we go. So from the beginning, a central goal of our association has been to inspire leadership by providing forums for building human connection among our co-ops, including board members, managers, staff, and partners. In 2025, we held 12 quarterly dialogues for co-op leaders as board leaders. We also offered trainings with the International Center for Cooperative Management and worked with the ICA to help launch the Cooperative Cultural Heritage Project, which we'll hear more about later. We're having a whole workshop session on that. And also interns helped us with that research last year. We also worked with the center to nominate and induct Tom Webb into the Co-op Hall of Fame in recognition of his commitment to co-op education and specifically the Masters of Management and Masters of Management of Co-ops and Credit Unions program at St. Mary's University. You'd think I'd get that right at some point. So we were super excited, and it was a fair amount of work to get the nomination together, but then have him inducted, and we were really proud of that to happen last year. It's also a fundraiser for the Cooperative Development Foundation, and we were proud to know that there were many contributors nationally and internationally to honor Tom. Let's see. And as we looked back and did some other counting, we realized that over the past 10 years, we had 47 students who had completed the internship program that was established at UMass Amherst in collaboration with the Department of Economics and the Valley Alliance of Worker Co-ops, which is a federation of worker co-ops in our region. And so when you checked in, you got to meet 2 of our interns for this year, Tavishi and Christiana in the back there. If you haven't had a chance to, if you didn't if you missed talking to them, certainly introduce yourself. They are, as with all of the other 47 interns that we've had through the years, interested in learning about cooperatives and fortunate at UMass to have a college course on cooperatives. So let's see. Yeah. And they'll be here throughout the day as well, and will be participating in the sessions later. And I think, are we at that point? Whatever the next one is. What's the next one?
All right.
That's you.
Growth and development. As we work to support the shared success of our co-ops, we were also a little surprised and a little exhausted to realize that we offered 24 online peer dialogues for our member co-ops last year, with about 45 co-ops participating. A focus of our work in recent years has also been in supporting our small food co-ops, which are critical in their communities and also face unique challenges in the marketplace and don't really have the same type of support systems as many of our larger co-ops do. So that's been a focus of our work with Sue Miller, former general manager at Upper Valley Co-op, who's been helping facilitate that group. We also have 6 startup members. And looking back over the past 15 years, we were excited to note that at least 20 food co-ops have opened their doors in the Northeast since we were incorporated in 2011. It was a kind of shocking revelation. I think when we started, there were 47 about that we counted, and now we're up over around 63, 64. And I want to be clear, obviously, we're not taking sole credit for this trend in new co-ops. Really, the weight of that credit goes to the startup organizers who, I'm not sure if we have any startups with us today or recently opened co-ops. You know, it can take up to a decade of hard, dedicated work for these food co-ops to start. But what we do think we've contributed to, in addition to some direct technical support, is we've helped build a much stronger ecosystem of support and collaboration in this region with partners and many of you who provide peer support to these startups. We believe we've helped create an environment of awareness where co-ops are seen as a solution and a successful model for participatory economic development that can serve our communities for generations. We've also helped many co-ops weather challenging times. There are a few co-ops in our region that we have worked with that came very close to closing our doors, and through our support, we have helped them continue. And I think it's a very important thing to recognize and to really thank those co-ops for their hard work and persistence in continuing to serve their communities. Because once you do get a co-op open, they tend to survive for a long time. And this was another really interesting statistic as we looked at the co-ops that have come and gone over the course of the last 15 years in our region. The median age for food co-ops in this region is 44, which is not something you can say about most retailers. We are a very resilient, sustainable, and participatory model, and we need to find ways to, not only get the word out more about that, but work together to ensure that we can actually be even more long-lived and support our communities. That's you.
So let's see. So each year, we take the opportunity of recognition to get a sense of our thoughts on the relevance of our work. For our 15th annual meeting, we wanted to take a look back at our founding purposes and ask how relevant they still are today. So in that registration, you were asked to check all that apply of the purposes that the founding co-op folks thought would be necessary as a federation. And so what we found was that all, this is a subset, of course, of our co-ops, and not everybody answered this question, but those that answered, you can see the 64, the highest furthering the ideals of the international cooperative identity. So it's important to people that we are a co-op and that we further our ideals of being a cooperative, our cooperative identity. And, you know, there's not a whole lot of difference in between each of those, so all of them were as they were chosen. To pursue public as distinct from private happiness, the wording on that one was a little bit odd, so it's not surprising that it got kind of low. But, and it's also, we also, when we thought about it, it's sort of could be grouped with reorienting the economy to advance the common good. So it's public happiness instead of private. So it was something that we wanted to do just to sort of check in about is what we started with NFCA, is it still relevant today? And of course, the answer is yes, we are definitely still relevant. So next.
So next,
That's
yes.
next.
So as we set our priorities every year, we're always mindful of your feedback. We're always looking for those areas where you think we can make a difference, working to advance our core mission of using our collective strength to support one another, support growth, innovation, and shared success. This event in particular, you know, when we ask you to join in the table topics, small groups, we're taking notes there. We're asking questions on what we're doing well, what we could do better, get ideas on what we haven't thought of yet. So we really want to encourage you to talk openly with each other, and we take those notes seriously when we tabulate them for our board. So today, we're looking forward to your feedback and ideas.